Hello everyone, I'm Nini FC, this is bluelionstv. Welcome to the match review of our 2-1 win over Newcastle. We needed these points, especially when Arsenal lost to West Ham. And in today's match review, I'm going to be talking about Willian, I'm going to be talking about David Luiz, I'm going to be talking about some of the issues I personally feel we face when we don't have someone like Ruben in midfield for us. I'm going to be talking about why we're not getting the best out of our false nine system as well. But you guys, as you know, today's video is brought to you by OneFootball, the best football companion app to have beside you. If you wanted the match stats for today's game, you could get it right now. You get the lineup news, information you need, everything you want in your pocket. Download the OneFootball app if you want to help support the content I bring for you guys. It means a lot because every download from the link in the description below does get tracked. So if you want to help me out, download the OneFootball app. But anyway, you guys might be thinking, Nini, your background's looking a bit different still. Where's the green screen? You guys, I have moved out to a new flat with my girl, so obviously, you know, I've got to do things a bit different these days. So, of course, I've got a green screen coming tomorrow, so I'm going to be using that again. But again, enough of me getting straight into the match review, starting with the lineup. Now, a lot of us knew that Hudson-Odoi wasn't going to be starting this game because Sarri himself said that the guy's played 2 games and quick concession, you know, he's going to be a bit tired. I don't want to rush this guy. I want him to just develop properly. And, you know, you have to remember, if you're an 18-year-old, your body's still growing. You know, your body doesn't stop growing until you're 21 years old. So it's natural that care does need to be put in place when you are using someone like Hudson-Odoi. But again, I understand why he didn't play. Giroud didn't start as well. Morata wasn't there. Of course, we all know why. It was a false nine system again. And I keep saying this every single time, but tactically, we need this system for us. Now, people might be thinking, but Nini, obviously, there's no threat. Where's the goal threat? Now, I feel like the real issue we have, and I'm going to just get straight to this right now, is the fact that there aren't enough late man runs made. And this is why I'm such a massive advocate for Ruben. It's so annoying that this guy is injured. It's a shame, you know, he's had this thing with his back for a long time. He has his own special training sessions as well, just to really help him deal with his back issues. But I'm praying that one day he can just overcome them because we need his skill set so much. Number one, I like the idea of, you know, our team's best players playing together because that makes for better combinations. 2, Ruben attacks the spaces. Hazard makes so much space and movement. And it's like, I was watching this game today and I'm seeing the amount of times that Hazard was running at his opponents. Where were the runs made to really create that space for Hazard? It wasn't there. He was isolated, and sometimes he can be a bit too isolated. Now, I'm not going to blame Willian and Pedro because, again, they have to keep that width as well. It's not as if we're blessed with Dani Alves and Alexandro. But this is why we need the midfield players to push on and break the lines. That's not happening enough. And I personally feel like we need this. We do. Because this is how you break down these very defensive, compact teams. That's the only way you can do it. There's no other way. And it's like, sorry, I understand this sense of balance in the team. But my perspective, and again, I'm not saying I'm a genius or I know anything, but my perspective is you have to fight extremes with another extreme. You know, if teams are just focusing on defending very deep and putting all their men in their own half, we have to combat that by being extreme ourselves. We need to have these guys making even more runs forward. Yeah, we might be a bit more exposed, but I guarantee when we get that first goal, the second goal, we're in control of the game. Then Sarri can make those substitutions where we can't just dictate proceedings. You know, bring on Cover to replace Ruben, bring on someone like, I don't know, someone else like Giroud or whatever to help us just, you know, be a bit more compact. And I think that's the best thing that we need right now. I feel like we do struggle at times to get goals, and that's the most important thing. And of course, we do everything right. It's that final 20 meters, and that's what Sarri himself is constantly saying every single time. We need those intelligent players that are going to make those runs forward. And Kante can't do it himself. You look at how Man City do it. They constantly have 3, 4, 5 players in the box at all times. Now, today, it was better. There were times where we did have, you know, 3 or 4 players in the opposition box to get on the end of moves. But it's not consistent enough. And to be honest, let's be serious. Patience, patience, patience. Believe in that damn process because it's going to be like this throughout the season until next year starts. There's so many factors we have to remember. Sarri doesn't have every single player he wants. Players have been injured throughout the season as well, not fully fit at times. You know, these things play a part in where, you know, you can't really get the best out of the system. But For people to think the system isn't working is complete nonsense, in my personal opinion. It's the execution of things. Now, that's not the system's fault. That's down to the personnel and the context surrounding these guys. Be patient. But anyway, that's enough of me giving my thoughts and opinions on that. Moving on to the game, and obviously, the first goal, fantastic piece of play. Sarri says it himself. All of us know this already. It's not rocket science. His movement he creates, attacking the spaces in behind, is crucial, it's vital. You know, guys like Jorginho, for example, gets criticised for very safe passes. But what I keep saying every single time, and I definitely know a lot of you guys hear me, that comes down to the fact that there's no passing options. If you're a team that relies on possession of the ball, pressing high, dictating the game, and taking the game to your opponents, you need to create those passing options for your guys. And I think we've managed to overcome this issue now because we have Eden Hazard playing as our false nine. That makes a world of difference. The final jigsaw we need to do now is to have more runners in the team that are going to exploit the spaces created by Eden Hazard. Once that happens, I'm telling you, the goals are going to come. But even then, David Luiz, fantastic, world-class pass. And it seems like today he got a lot of praise for once, thank God. Maybe it's because this game was on TV. And I've noticed this correlation where if we're on TV, more people see it, more praise comes. That's how it tends to work. But this guy makes passes like this every single time. And it's been such a shame because he's had guys like Morata getting on the end of these things, doing nothing with it. Or there's been times where, you know, Pedro hasn't been in the team either due to injury or not being fully fit. And you need that because, again, these opposition teams, we all know this. I say it all the time, it's boring. Mid-block tactics where they want to stop our passing angles, stop the ball going into our midfield. They want to force us to play long. But we have the players that can make those long horizontal vertical passes. It comes down to the players' movement in behind to make that happen. And that's why Pedro is so effective. That ability to use his left foot. One of the best guys in the world when it comes to his off-the-ball movement. He is like a cheat code in the sense of his off-the-ball movement. You know what I mean? So we need more players of this dimension in the team to really just take this system to another level. But even then, David Luiz, I kind of feel like this guy needs to have some respect put on his name. I'm sorry. I feel like when people criticize Luiz, I understand it. Don't think that I just overlook every mistake he makes. You know, I see them. But I kind of feel like people criticize his defending because sometimes his one-on-one defending isn't 10 out of 10 every single time. Let's be serious. He's got a very unique style of winning the ball. It's to go in very hard and aggressive. And of course, by using that style, if you're a smart player, if you're intelligent, there are times where obviously you can read David Luiz and get past him. But let's be serious. No players are perfect. Now, a player that people love to praise is Ramos from Real Madrid. But how many times does this guy give away fouls, get sent off, get suspended? His positional play can be poor. Why do you think he gives away so many fouls? But the guy still is a world-class player in my opinion. How he uses the ball, how important he is with his heading ability, everything. And I don't think that it would be fair to fully dismiss Ramos because he gets suspended and gives away fouls. So I kind of feel like we have to have this same energy with players like David Luiz because he provides so much importance to this team with this distribution, leadership, positional play, all of that stuff. Yes, his 50-50 game isn't world class, but no one's N'Golo Kante, you know what I mean, who, in my opinion, is the best 50-50 tackler in the world. But let's respect and appreciate the quality that we do have in this team. Now, from then on, you know, Newcastle still stood in the game. I thought they were quite impressive. Rafa Benitez obviously knew how to set this team up against us. As I was saying before, you know, their tactical system wasn't very different to what we've seen beforehand. One thing I liked in this game was the fact that we forced Newcastle long so many times because we stopped their passing options. Now, we could see Newcastle, they spread their defence wide, obviously build up from the back. But with the positions of our players, obviously, we stopped them finding any connection to their midfield players. And we constantly kept forcing them to pump long balls from goal kicks or from centre-backs. And that's how we were able to constantly get turnovers in possession and do our thing. But I would say that Newcastle were a bit more aggressive in their pressing than I thought they would be, in my opinion. That makes sense, you know, when you're using a mid-block tactic, you know, you can't just sit there and take it. You do have to be proactive off the ball at times, and I think that whenever Newcastle players managed to get enough men forward, that was when they would activate their press. But I think that we were constantly able to bypass that with some very good combinations down the flanks. We were able to get 1v1 against them quite a lot at times as well. And I think that, yes, you know, we want to see 3-0s and 4-0s. I don't think it's going to really come. I thought it would, but I think maybe next season is when we're going to see that. But I think that there was still quite a lot of positives in the game today. But obviously to end this match review, because I could honestly talk about this game for a while. So expect to hear more of my thoughts and opinions in tomorrow's 5 talking points video. But I want to end things by talking about Willian for a bit. Willian. Now, you guys, you know what I'm about to say is boring. I can imagine that so many of you are like turning this video off right now. But there's context to things. As I keep saying, Willian is more effective down the left-hand side. I can understand people's mindsets. Willian's been playing down the left a lot, but what's he been doing? Now, with Willian, he's a very tricky player. I kind of feel like he's built a negative reputation because the guy has been playing out of possession for so long, but I honestly feel the guy is much more effective down that left-hand side. Finally, we finally saw a Willian curling effort from the left. You just won't see that down the right-hand side. And I think potentially this could be that confidence booster that Willian needs. You know, the guy's been desperate for a goal. And when I've been watching and analysing his game, he's been very selfish at times. And that's one thing that the fans have been very critical of. But I always believe the context was down to the fact that he's trying to score a goal to get off the mark, because Willian's a guy that does get goals. And I think that today, playing down the left-hand side, he's much more effective. You know, with Willian, I like how, you know, he receives the ball from deep. He creates those attacking transitions just by himself. Cutting inside's a thing. Honestly, you guys, I say this all the time. If we really want to get the best out of our wide players, we need better fullbacks for them. I say this all the time. Look at all the best teams in the world. Look at all their wide attacking players. They have world-class fullbacks beside them that can support the play. You don't get that from Alonso, who I thought was quite average again today. Some of his crosses are awful. Again, I think that he's someone I would have as a backup player, but he's not a first-choice quality player in my opinion. Aspi has great qualities in his game, but I think his overall game isn't exactly what we need down the flanks. And I think that there's so much pressure put on our wingers at times that, you know, it can make things difficult. And it's where, you know, you're listening to this match where you're thinking, Nini, you're just making up excuse after excuse after excuse. I can understand why you think that, but this is why football and the tactical side of the game is just so important. So much thought and decision has to be put in how to get the best out of your team and the players you have at your disposal. So much work gets put into things. I was reading something from Lampard, I think, where he's saying, you know, I got to get in the office for 7. Sometimes I don't even leave that day. That's how much preparation has to go into games every single time. And because so many factors are involved in really getting the best out of something, it does make it harder to like find all the solutions you need in one window. It doesn't really work like that. But hopefully now with Willian, because I thought his second half performance was even better and it was promising. Hopefully that's a confidence booster that he has needed. Again, I've never been a Willian hater. There's times when I'm frustrated, and when I'm frustrated with the player, I tell you guys exactly why, and I provide the right context as well. Is Willian a bad player? Of course not. But I really think if we want to get the best out of our wide players, if we have that number 8 that breaks the lines, attacks the spaces, and if we had the fullbacks that attacked as well, it could make things much easier. How many times again are you seeing Alonso make these stupid infield runs that doesn't do anything for anyone? His combinations too are dead. So it's like, why is this guy playing in the middle? He doesn't do 1-2s with anyone. So it makes no sense to me. And it's like sometimes you have to sympathize a bit with everyone. So that's my perspective on things. But again, a good 2-1 win is what we needed. You guys, that's going to be the end for today's match review. I'll give you a little tour of what the room's looking like right now. Obviously got the TV there. Obviously got BT Sport, 4K, Virgin Media. The balcony, of course, the kitchen and that. So, you know, I'm in a much more stable environment right now. So this means that things are going to be even better for this year. I really want to make things for the channel this year the best it's ever been. I'm going to work really hard. So you guys, of course, thank you for all the support. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, comment and subscribe. And if you want to help me out, download the OneFootball app. I'm newcastle. This is bluelionstv. Signing out.